Hello, and welcome back to the Build and Revitalize podcast. I am your host, Aaron Reed, and we are excited to bring you part 2 of our 3-part series on the value of a co-op experience for students pursuing engineering careers. Today, I am happy to welcome Case Vanderheide and Danielle Rand to the podcast. Both Case and Dani were co-ops at SME in 2021 and are back for the summer of 2022 as interns to pick up where they left off. Each of them have had unique co-op experiences, but as they will tell us, what they learned as co-ops has been critical to their future careers. First up, we will speak with Case. Case is a student at Michigan Technological University in Houghton, Michigan, and was just about to start his internship in SME's survey group at the time we recorded. He has a great story about how his co-op experience changed his original career path. With that, let's jump into our conversation with Case. Case, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So to start off, tell me a little bit about yourself, where you go to school, and just a little bit of background information on you.
Yeah, so my name's Case Vanderheide. I'm from the Grand Rapids area initially. Currently, I go up to school at Michigan Tech. I'm a geospatial engineering student, or in layman's terms, a surveying engineering. And yeah.
So you're at Michigan Tech. You just finished your sophomore year. Tell me a little bit about kind of how you came to pursue an internship or a co-op program. How did that come about?
Sure. So up at Michigan Tech, a really big part of the culture up here is the job fairs. We have one in the fall and we have one in the spring. Everyone's getting ready. We have class off for it, and just making sure students are trying to reach out to other companies, whether they're trying to actually get a job or not. I was encouraged to even interview with other companies just for the experience of interviewing and networking with other companies, even though I already am going to be coming back here as a intern this summer.
So what aspects of the SME program or co-op program that you saw really drew you to want to pursue an opportunity with us?
Probably the best thing that drew me in was that you had a clear goal in mind of what to do with your co-ops. From people that I know that have been in co-ops and internships, at times there's not a direct like co-op goal. There's no real path to go from there. You just kind of get into the company and they just kind of keep you as the intern. But with SME, you kind of lay it all out on the table. What's going to be there? What kind of benefits are you going to get? Are you going to get housing stipend? Are you going to get a phone bill or tuition reimbursement? All those sorts of little things that you wouldn't hear unless you got an offer from one of these companies. But with the website, it's all there, plain and simple.
You mentioned some of the monetary benefits of being a co-op at SME. Tell me a little bit more about some of the experience or career goals that you had when you were trying to determine what type of co-op or internship program that you wanted to pursue.
So yeah, during my interview, they noticed my surveying minor, and from there, that's when things really started to build with SME in general. Most of the other companies that I had talked with, they weren't really interested, but SME pointed out the minor that I had on my resume, and the rest is history.
So you come to SME pursuing an environmental internship opportunity. You end up getting hired within our survey group. Explain a little bit how that switch has affected not only your career here at SME, but also your schoolwork back at Michigan Tech.
Yeah, so it was a big switch, a big crossroads in my whole education career. Thought I wanted to go into environmental engineering, but it was the actual doing of the job and being with the team that I was with that really pointed me in the direction of, hey, I really enjoy doing this. So let's start looking at what I can do with this in my future.
So, Case, tell me a little bit more about your experience within the survey group. What did you experience this past summer that solidified this decision that you've made to switch your majors from environmental to survey?
I would say it was mostly just the encouragement from my survey team. I would say just them being who they are, they really pointed me into loving the profession. It's a very tight knit group. I was able to learn a lot of things that I had no idea even existed. It really brought together my understanding of the profession, and with that came responsibilities as the summer came along. I ended up at a battery plant in Lordstown, Ohio, and they sent me there all by myself to another surveying company down there that we were working with, and that is something I would never have expected out of a co-op or internship for being there for only a couple months.
So you're given this extreme sense of ownership, responsibility. It's not just a project that, we're assigning you to. This is a project that you're responsible for.
Yeah, exactly. Because my expectations going into the summer, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had a minor in surveying. I'd taken one class at college, so I knew bare bones basic of what the heck surveying is. And for them to give me my responsibilities and just for them to recognize that I was able to learn and able to grow in the field, and them to give me the responsibility due from that, it really was it was really cool.
No, and it's great to hear that, it's had obviously such a profound effect on you and kind of how you've perceived your career, kind of, this change that you've made. As you said earlier, Case, you are coming back this summer to do the internship. Tell me something, that really solidified your decision. Like, I want to do this again. I want to come back. What's a new skill that you want to learn? What's a new project you may want to type of project you may want to be involved with? What solidified that decision that I'm going to come back again and continue my career at SME?
Yeah, so I would say it would be the amount of options that being in a previous co-op allows me to have. During my co-op, I was mostly field crew, and eventually towards the end I was starting to be able to do some stuff in the office. And coming into this summer, that opens up all sorts of avenues. I could do more office side of things. I could end up doing more solo stuff in the field. It's just a lot of things that I am going to be able to do by continuing being with SME.
Pursuing that, that 6-month co-op program that you did last year, learning all the kind of ins and outs of SME and your group, it's really going to allow you, to feel like you're really hitting the ground running.
Exactly, exactly. That's the feeling that's driving me.
Awesome. What's some of the advice you may have that you would provide to, say, a student just starting out in their engineering or survey or environmental career?
I would say don't let the co-op scare you. A lot of people don't think that they can make up the schoolwork by pushing everything extra semester. And I know my schedule's a little bit weird, but even though it's most definitely worth it. I learned half the stuff that I'm going to school to learn this semester. I learned it in the field at the co-op. So bite the bullet. Just don't think too hard about it, because it definitely outweighs anything that you could really think of.
I completely agree with you, Case, and I can't think of anything when I was a former co-op, and I can't think of, there was anything that I needed to know in terms of like schoolwork before I started a co-op program here at SME, right? A lot of things that you're going to be doing are going to be new things regardless of what, classes you may have had or prior experience you may have had. So yeah, for sure. Don't ever feel like, I'm not ready in my school career because I haven't taken this class or I don't have this experience, right? jump right in. We're going to teach you what you need to know. It's just you're just going to be better for it.
Exactly. That's the whole point of having co-op. It fills in all the gaps you never knew you had.
Well, Case, summer is fast approaching. It is slowly getting warmer outside. I think we're all looking forward to that. And I know everyone here at SME is happy to have you back this summer. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Up next is Danielle Rand. Danny just finished her associate degree at Jackson Community College here in Michigan and is back at SME to start her internship with SME's Kalamazoo CMS team. She too has made important decisions about her career path after her co op experiences and is looking to start her full time career after the summer wraps up. With that, let's start our conversation with Danny. Danny, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, Danny, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me where you go to school, what prior co-op experiences you've had, and any sort of introduction.
So, I actually am finishing my associate's degree at Jackson College, and then I am coming back to SME on Monday to start my internship. But I started this whole idea down construction with working at Jackson County Department of Transportation, graduated from high school, needed a summer job. My dad worked there, and he was like, we got some spots if you'd like to give it a go and see how you like it. At that point in time, I was dead set that I wanted to be in agriculture and work with cows the rest of my life. First day on the job at the county was a little rough, didn't know what I was getting myself into, but by the end of the year, completely changed my major, switched from agriculture completely into construction. So I was at the county for 3 years, and that's where I came in contact with SME. They did all of our density testing and concrete testing for our road projects. When my time at the county came to an end, I was hemming and hawing on where am I going to go next? And my dad was like, well, you were really interested in what the people from SME were doing. And so I applied, and here I am now.
That's great. So tell me, you had this kind of thought that you really wanted to go into agriculture, and through your dad, you start this career in construction. What is it about construction that really interested you, allowed you to, or made you want to stick with it in terms of being at the county for 3 years and then ultimately coming to SME?
Construction is something different every day. You're essentially doing the same job every day, but the projects you're on every day change. And that's what I liked most, rather than if I was in agriculture, there's a good chance I was going to be at the same farm for extended periods of time and not really getting to see what other things were out there. Where construction, I could be testing concrete one day, next day I'm testing ag base, and then the following day I'm testing asphalt. So it's something different every day.
So when you were at the county, did that allow you to kind of see a lot of different things that, they had going on in terms of, what a road commission does, and, allowing you to work on different either, projects, culvert projects? What are some of the things that they had you do when you first started out working for the county?
So my first 2 years at the county, my technical job title was an engineering intern. So I was the inspector for them paving the road, pulverizing the road, milling the road, making sure everything was going to be put back essentially how it came up. Now, my third year at the county, I was on the operations side, out with the actual road crews, doing culverts, ditching, shoulder gravel, all those, the routine maintenance that the road commission has to do that people don't see other than getting roads redone.
Sure. So some of the more operational side of things that, aren't like defined projects, but, obviously are really important for the county. Those are the types of things you kind of transition to or got to see, in that third year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you're at the county, and, you're working there, and you start seeing these, co-ops or interns or SME employees with these white hard hats walking around. What made you want to pursue SME and try and find out more it is that we do and kind of look into that opportunity?
the one project that I was on with SME, which was Norval Road out in Grass Lake. Reith Riley went on strike. The road was pulverized and then sat for 8 weeks. So then it came down to, okay, we're coming into winter. We got to pave this. So Tim had a meeting with my coworker from Jackson County, Justin Kirkpatrick, who also came from SME, and just the conversation between them two about like what SME did to kind of get the ball moving to get this road paved really was what interested me to see maybe I want to go to the testing side rather than the inspection side.
Sure. So you had this problem at the county that, at the time SME was involved with trying to remedy in terms of, we have this unpaved road. What can we do to get it fixed? And our involvement in that project or, solving this problem is something that interested you enough to say, hey, let's see what I could be doing for SME.
Mm-hmm.
So, walk me through that a little bit. You're going to Jackson Community College. What was your interview process like at SME? How did that come about?
I had actually submitted an application the year prior and not paying attention to dates, submitted it in March. Well, by March, they've got their co-ops positions filled. So I'm on the following year, and I just had gotten lucky enough to be able to go back to the county for another year. My mom was like, okay, you really got to get on top of this if this is what you want to do. And so I submitted my application, and within a couple days, I had a response. And we talked a lot about my previous experience at the county, what I liked about it, what I found would help me being now on the testing side, having worked with the testers and discussing, okay, we have an issue, we're not passing density. What can we do differently?
So your experience is a little bit different in that it wasn't like you found SME through like a career fair or something through the university. Your experience or exposure to SME was almost through your work at the county.
Mm-hmm.
You're applying, I'm assuming, through the website. Is that how you applied?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you had an awareness of us and, obviously got to meet some of our, other technicians, who work here in Kalamazoo, and that was kind of your route to coming to SME versus, maybe some of the more typical routes of, interviewing at a career fair, seeing us at a booth, but, there's another route to go basically. So let's talk a little bit about your time at SME last summer. So tell me some of the projects that you were involved with, some of the experiences that you enjoyed. What made you excited to come, work for SME during the summer, and obviously come back this year?
So the one main project that I was on from start to finish was the Home Depot in Portage. They were redoing the parking lot, and I really got to see the start to finish and all the aspects that go into completely redoing a whole parking lot, which to me was different than roads. Roads, you set up and you go drive straight till you end the lane, and then you turn around and you do it again. Where this was, okay, you got a parking stall that you're going to have to do this way, and then you're going to have to go the other way because you've got concrete and a sidewalk. So that was probably one of the most interesting projects I was on. I can't say it was my favorite project.
That's usually the case. Sometimes the most interesting aren't necessarily the most favorite. Or,
Made it through, and it was interesting, but it wasn't my favorite.
yeah, yeah. In my experience, the projects that are always the most memorable are usually the ones where you learn the most in most instances, right? Because things aren't necessarily going smoothly. You don't have a contractor who necessarily knows what they're doing or is being difficult, right? There are other challenges that you may be having to deal with that, you know, what's the saying, learning is on right along the knife's edge of being uncomfortable, right? Or something along those effects, right? So it's it's interesting that you would say that the not your favorite, but definitely the most memorable. So Danny, looking back at your experience at SME and also your experience working with the county, how has that shaped your career path, both at Jackson County Community College as well as kind of looking forward?
So having been in the middle of my associate's degree when COVID hit. I decided that I should probably focus on really deciding what I wanted to do with my career. So in that time, I took some time off school, worked at the county, worked at SME, and it's made me realize I want to finish my associate's degree and then get a full-time job in the construction world, and then decide from there if I need more schooling, I will go back to school, but I haven't declared an exact major. But if I do declare a major, it's going to be construction management.
Gotcha. So this experience has kind of shaped your career outlook in terms of, it's afforded you the opportunity to, finish your associate's degree at Jackson, and then also, at least kind of where you're at now, it's given you a lot of job experience, on the field, in the field experience combined with your associate's degree. You can kind of decide, get a job out of school once you've graduated, and then decide if you want to pursue additional education.
Yeah.
You're coming back this summer as an intern. Is there anything specific that you went through the co-op program last year? What are some of your goals this year?
Some of my goals this year are see if there's any sort of certifications I can get to get onto some of the larger projects like graphic packaging, even though that one's coming up on a wrap. But just for example, graphic packaging, or see different things. I hands down would sit in Calhoun County with them paving testing all day long if I could, but I'd like to see a couple different things. But asphalt's what I know the most, so that's why I wouldn't be mad if I was in Calhoun County all summer, anywhere paving.
Yeah, I would just say, if there are other projects that you want to be involved with, or there are other things you want to see, I think if, any of our co-ops, approach their team leader about, hey, I really want to be on this project. I don't think any team leader is ever going to discount those desires, right? So the goal is always, especially with interns, they come in, they know our systems, right? They know how to submit, draft up a report, right? We want them to hit the ground running and, be involved with some of the more sophisticated projects because, you've been here a year, right? We want you to be exposed to those things. So if there's a certain project or a certain client that you want to specifically be involved with, make sure, you're pushing for it.
Mhm. That's my goal this summer. Get out of my comfort zone.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. If you're feeling uncomfortable, right, that's when you're usually learning the most. So thank you, Dani, for joining us today. This has been great talking with you, and good luck this summer.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our second episode of the Build and Revitalize podcast 3-part series on the co-op experience, brought to you by SME. Be sure to catch the last episode in our series when we talk to former co-ops about how the co-op experience set them up to begin their successful engineering careers. Be sure to subscribe to the Build and Revitalize podcast on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or Spotify. And don't forget to visit sme-usa.com/podcast to join the conversation, access show notes, and catch up on our previous episodes. While you're at it, make sure to connect with SME on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.